Say something. It's a blood clot something.
Yeah.
What you mean?
Yeah.
Good. I tell you fucking goons, sit the fuck down before we start squeezing in this bitch. We don't want these innocent people getting hurt. Yo! Spread the word. Top shutters are back in full effect. Hey yo, Dangles. He's a real soldier for a long time, you know. You hear me? I look for some soldier. Link up.
Welcome to the PBC. It's your boy PB K9s giving it to you the way I always do. Fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. We got some dog news today, and we got some things to talk about. A few things to talk about. I want to give you an update on a Florida dog fighting bust. You remember when they bust the brother down in Broward County, down in the Miami, the bottom area, you know, earlier part of this year? Well, we got an update on that. You know, where the feds is seizing the dogs or something's going on. I'm gonna let y'all check that out. But for the most part, today's show, man, I want to speak to y'all about some real shit. When it comes to these pit bulls, man, we as a group, and I'm gonna say this because I know a lot of the times when I'm giving y'all these news articles, pit bull attacks, a lot of the times they're not the dogs that we got. They the fake pit bulls. You know, or other breeds. When I say fake, the brothers who got the dogs probably don't even call them pit bulls. The people who looking at the dogs from the outside calling them pit bulls when they're not pit bulls. But what I got for you today is, like I always say, the breed is not important once children and once people start getting hurt in these situations. We got to figure out what we're going to do as far as a country to keep these dogs in adequate places where they can't get loose. You see, the laws is being passed from state to state to put these dogs on skinny ass chains, skinny long chains, because they say the other chains is too heavy. Cages will not hold these pit bulls all kind of ways. Some cages won't. You know, you can build your cage up and build it around where they hold them in. You know, but for the most part, the most secure way to keep a how I'm gonna put it, a dog that's really, he likes to go out and venture place. He likes to check everything out. He just a dog who always gets into something. A chain is gonna be your most secure way to keep that dog down. The dogs, you know, you can have concrete flooring. Dogs can climb. You know, I had a top on one. You know, it wasn't a steel top. It was like a vinyl top where the dog chewed through the top, climbed up the fence and chewed through the top. So a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, it just depends on what level your dog trying to take it to that day. You know, in my situation, you know, when I had a dog that would climb out the fence, he would never try to get out the fence until firecrackers was popped. Once firecrackers start being popped, that joker would climb like Spider-Man and get out the fence. And I had to put him back in over and over. He just climbing back in, tore my whole top part off. You know, but anyway, what I'm saying is, what are we gonna do as a country to keep these dogs secure? You know what I'm saying? Help our other brothers who got the bully dogs, the band dogs, or whatever dogs these mixed breed dogs. Help them to understand that they got to practice responsibility, man. We can't keep seeing these young children getting killed by these dogs. You know what I'm saying? The first situation I'm gonna show you, you know, because we'll get to that Florida dog fighting bust update. But the first news article I want to show you, man, the man lost his life in the situation as well, trying to save the little child, the little infant. I want to say it was several months old, a young baby. You know, man, see, that's going down. Now I'm gonna say any, because you got a bunch of cowards out there. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of cowards. But for the most part, you know, a man gon', and we done seen women do it. A person gonna put themselves in harm's way to save a baby, man. You know what I'm saying? It just instantly, your body, something in your body that make you do it. You can be scared of the dog. Lord knows that brother probably was scared of that pit bull. But it's something in your body that makes you protect them children, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I done reported so many articles over the past 6 months, and I told y'all that month, about a couple months ago, it was the most I ever reported on pit bull type dogs attacking children. We gotta do better than that shit, man. Fuck all the dog fighting. Listen, all the dog fighting busts this year don't equivalent to one baby getting killed. You know what I'm saying, by these dogs. That one baby getting killed by these dogs is worse than all the dog fighting busts they can put on TV. No matter how cruel and inhumane you want to make them look, none of that shit is worse than that baby losing his life. Now, we had multiple, and several children across the world losing their lives for these dogs over the past couple months, because I gave you the articles from Europe to America. We got to do better with these dogs when it comes to loose pit bulls. The loose pit bulls is taking lives. The fighting dogs is just something illegal that brothers is doing. You know, how can 7 pit bulls be running around in the neighborhood? How can 5 or 6 pit bulls be running around in the neighborhood, and when the police get called on them, they don't get them? You see, some of y'all brothers and sisters across this country need to start taking lawsuits out on your city, because your city was called for these dogs multiple times. They didn't get them, you know. Pit bulls shouldn't be running around loose, man. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't be running around loose. No dog should be running around loose if it has an owner. And all dogs had an owner at one point in time. You know, no dog should be running loose, man. We got to do something better, because I'm tired of giving you these news articles, man, with these precious children losing their lives because of somebody letting their dogs out, or somebody, you know, don't got their dogs in. So I'm gonna run this dog news and the children getting attacked by the pit bulls back to back. It's 2 different situations, but I'm gonna run them back to back. And in the other situation, you know, the neighbor opened their door. The pit bulls rushed out. The mother was out there with her child, and I want to say it was somebody else out there, but the dog went at somebody else, and they got out the way, and the dog hit the little baby. See, it's situations like this, you know. And then the person say, my dog's got to go to the pound, right? When your dog hurt a child, man, listen, like I always say, we all love our pets. But what kind of feelings do you have for that child that's being hurt by your dog? Whether it's me, whether it's anybody. You know, we don't want to speak that on nobody, period. You know, but if my dog hurt a child, you know what I'm saying? You got to be willing to go to jail about that shit. Let that dog go. That dog won't have to get put down. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You got to learn responsibility when it comes to these dogs, man. You know what I'm saying? Like we always say, sometimes grown people can fight the dogs off. But in this situation, the dogs killed the man and the baby. And then on the next situation I'm giving you, you know, the baby is recovering. So in that situation, the baby didn't pass, the baby is recovering. You know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do, we're going to get into that news, man. I hope everybody having a great day. It's a little wet over here on my side of town. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody having a great day, but let's get into that news, and then we're going to get into that Florida dogfighting update.
A man and a baby are mauled and killed by pit bulls in Coffee County. Jaxie Pigeon joins us in studio with the details just in from investigators. Jaxie.
Well, Peyton, it was around 3 o'clock on Wednesday when that tragic attack happened. This was at a home off of East Warren and Gentry Streets in Tullahoma. District Attorney General Craig Northcott says police were responding to a call about a 50-year-old man who'd apparently been mauled by pit bulls. The DA identified that man as James Smith. When officers got to the scene, they saw the dogs attacking a 3-month-old girl and immediately killed those dogs. Both victims died at the scene. An investigation is underway to determine the cause of death and whether the dogs had a history of violence. In a statement, the District Attorney General says in part, quote, "This was an especially difficult and brutal scene. Please pray for the family of the victims in this difficult time, as well as the first responder as they cope with the trauma they witnessed." If you know anything about this incident, you're asked to call Tullahoma Police.
Tonight, a heartbreaking and horrifying story out of Coffee County. The sheriff there confirming a child and a man were killed after they were attacked by at least 7 dogs. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston. This happened at a home right in Tullahoma, and our Kelsey Gibbs went there tonight and spoke with a neighbor about the incident.
And we started hearing that the 2 dogs had attacked 2 family members and killed them.
A quiet afternoon on East Warren Street in Tullahoma took a tragic turn on Wednesday, as police say an infant and an adult man were killed after being attacked by several dogs inside a home. Officers, paramedics, and animal control rushed to the scene, where investigators say at least 7 dogs first mauled the baby, and then the man who tried desperately to save the child.
Basically, I got home around 2:30, and a lady was out in the middle of the road, and she was screaming. I couldn't understand what she was saying.
One neighbor who asked not to be identified says he had just pulled into the neighborhood when he saw the first signs something was terribly wrong.
I tried to help. I came up on her and asked her what was going on. She wouldn't answer me, and she ran off. Then I heard 1 siren, and then I heard more and knew the cavalry was coming, basically.
As police and paramedics swarmed the street, the neighbor says word started to spread about what had happened inside the home.
And we started hearing that the 2 dogs had attacked 2 family members and killed them. We had no idea that anything like this would ever happen here. It's just horrible.
He says learning one of the victims was just a baby made the moment almost unbearable.
It's just horrible. And if you just hear about it, it's one thing, but knowing it happened across the street, knowing you knew the people, that's what makes it so difficult.
Tullahoma Police Chief Chase Sun says the family and his officers are distraught after witnessing such a tragic scene, one that has shaken an entire neighborhood. In Tullahoma, Kelsey Gibbs, News Channel 5.
All right, thanks, Kelsey. Police tell us one of the dogs charged at officers when they arrived and was shot. The remaining animals were seized by animal control. Tullahoma's police chief, Chase Sun, says there's currently no indication of any criminal activity, but the DA has been notified. Investigators got to work to determine who owned the dogs and whether they had a history of aggression.
At 11 tonight, a 1-year-old is attacked by 2 dogs in Salem. The child is now at a Portland hospital recovering from serious head injuries and bite wounds. Now, the girl's mom says that she is now speaking with a lawyer. She shared details and photos with Fox 12's Leslie Dominique, and we should warn you, some of the images are disturbing.
Marissa Carone says Sunday afternoon she was returning to her Northeast Salem apartment from church with her 2 daughters, one 3 years old, the other 16 months, when a routine walk inside turned brutal. She says 2 dogs, one belonging to a next-door neighbor, suddenly attacked her baby. She claims she had already warned the landlord of prior violent behavior.
I had told her, this dog is going to get loose and he's going to either kill somebody's child or, scar them for life.
At the entryway to their apartment,
You could hear the dogs just trying to get out.
Salem mother Marissa Carone says her neighbor swung open her door and 2 pit bulls rushed out. Immediately, Carone says she pushed her eldest daughter out of the way. But when she tried to grab her 1-year-old, Adeline,
Both the dogs just barreled right past me.
for several minutes, Carone said she tried to shove the dogs off of her daughter. But when she finally fought them off, she realized the severity of Adeline's injury.
So when I see just the whole back of her head is just the skin, she's all ripped off, All I see is her skull.
The 16-month-old suffered from extensive bleeding with a large patch of skin ripped off the back of her head and a skull fracture.
We're getting updates. The patient was also bit in the stomach.
Bite marks on her face and back, too. Carone says this isn't the first time she's reported the neighbor's dog. She says the pit bull previously attacked her own dog and also bit her father-in-law. During Sunday's incident, Carone remembers her neighbor calling for her pit bull. And after,
She grabs her dog, but the only thing she can, think to say is, now my dog's going to have to go to the pound.
according to the Salem Police Department, both dogs were seized and taken to the Marion County Dog Show.
The law, the government is part of the reason. I'm not gonna say they're the reason for these attacks happening, but what I'm saying is they making laws for this dog that these dogs don't need to be on these chain laws. When I say chain, of course you don't need to have your dog on no big anchor chain. This anchor chain is a type of chain you throw off your boat, the anchor your boat down, or a logging chain. What they say, logging chain. You know, they be saying logging chains. A logging chain is not a little small chain that's got some thickness to it. A logging chain is one of them big chains. We need these pit bulls on regular size, thicker chains. Pit bulls aren't supposed to be on no little, no chain thin as my finger and 12 feet long. And that's the laws. So when this pit bull start running, just having fun playing, he gonna pop the chain. This same old chain they told me to secure the dog on. You know, a lot of these fences, these dogs can bite through them. They getting biting on the fence and all kind of stuff, and they'll bite holes through these fences. You have to get real solid steel fences. But man, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we just gotta practice responsibility. Make sure these dogs don't get loose. When these dogs get loose and they hurt somebody in the way that we seen these articles just now, you know, I mean, somebody got to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to pay for it, man. But let's go to this dog fighting update from Florida, where I gave y'all early, I think it was January. You know what I'm saying? The brother, two brothers down there in the bottom, the Miami area or the Broward County area, got busted for dog fighting. 40-some dogs, I want to say, was seized. Well, we got an update on that, so I'm going to let y'all get to that, man. It's your boy PB K9s giving it to you like I always do, man. Y'all hit that like button up. Y'all subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel. A big salute to the brother Paul Johnson. Hey, Paul, I'm going to do a show on what you asked me about, you know, in the messenger. I was just getting the message when you, I was working on my video when you hit me in the messenger. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to drop the video on what you were speaking about. And big thanks too, bro. And big thanks to all the brothers and sisters out there that be keeping me updated on that news. You know, couldn't do it without you, my brothers and my sisters. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go to this Florida situation, man. Broward County, dog fighting update.
The U.S. government is seeking ownership of over 40 pit bulls following its takedown of a Broward dogfighting ring using a civil forfeiture process that is typically applied to property like cars, contraband, or cash. The pit bulls have been in the care of the U.S. Marshals Service since January, when FBI agents raided the Deerfield Beach home of prominent Broward dogfighter Alex Benefield. They found 36 pit bulls locked in cages in his backyard, many of them scarred and injured, according to a federal complaint. A month later, while still in U.S. Marshals custody, one of the dogs that was pregnant during the raid gave birth to 12 puppies. On Thursday, prosecutors filed a complaint requesting that Benefield officially forfeit all of the dogs to the U.S. government. Alex Eugene Benefield, 54, of Deerfield Beach, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of possessing, training, and receipt of a dog for use in an animal fighting venture as part of an agreement with prosecutors. Broward Sheriff's Office, Shosh Courtesy. The complaint comes as Benefield, 54, awaits sentencing in his criminal case next week. In September, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of possessing, training, and receipt of a dog for use in an animal fighting venture as part of an agreement with prosecutors. He also agreed to allow the government to take his dogs. Anyone else with a legal claim to the dogs is allowed 35 days to file a response to the forfeiture complaint. The application of civil forfeiture to animals is unusual. Until recently, dogs seized during raids of fighting operations were euthanized because they could not be adopted until the criminal case concluded, according to the FBI. Over the last decade, the U.S. government began using civil forfeiture laws to take ownership of dogs with the goal of getting them adopted instead. In South Florida, the seizure of dogs remains a rare occurrence compared to cash, firearms, boats, jewelry, and other assets typically seized by the government during criminal investigations. A search of South Florida federal forfeiture cases under the same statute applied to Benefield's case over the last 5 years primarily returns seizures of money and firearms. None mention dogs or other animals. Benefield's situation is also unique in that he could have conceivably fought to keep his dogs, unlike someone convicted of smuggling firearms or trafficking drugs. Somebody in Benefield's situation could say, "Hey, I want my dogs back. They're my dogs. Why are you taking them?" His attorney, Richard Della Fera, told the South Florida Sun-Sentinel on Friday, "You can't say to the government, 'Hey, I want my cocaine back.'" Benefield has worked for the Broward School District since 2016, most recently as an automotive instructor at Boyd H. Anderson High School, a position he was able to keep despite his arrest. Over that same time period, he rose to the top of Broward's dogfighting underworld, where he was known as one of the top dogfighting trainers and dogfighters in South Florida, prosecutors said in the complaint. In 2023, an FBI source and former dogfighter began secretly recording conversations with Benefield. In one recorded conversation, Benefield showed the confidential FBI source a video of one of his dogs killing and eating another dog in his backyard. "That's the 5th one he killed," Benefield told the source. "He done killed 5. Benefield's sentencing is set for Tuesday. He faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison on each count, but is asking the judge to spare him prison time and issue a lighter sentence of supervision. "I am deeply ashamed that I participated in something that caused suffering to an innocent animal, and I would never hurt an animal intentionally," he wrote in a letter filed Thursday. "Looking back, I recognize that my actions reflected poor judgment and lack of respect for the law, for the well-being of animals, and for the standards of the community. I regret these decisions every day after working so hard to get out the streets and steer my kids the right way." The same day FBI agents arrested Benefield in January, they also arrested a second prominent dogfighter, Tremaine Marvin Randall of Pompano Beach. Randall pleaded guilty to 1 count of possession or training of a dog for use in an animal fighting venture and was sentenced in July to 1 year of probation. Agents had also raided Randall's home and seized 11 dogs, which he also agreed to forfeit to the U.S. government, according to his plea agreement. As part of his sentence, Randall was ordered to complete 100 community service hours at an animal rescue facility, according to court records. His attorney is currently seeking to modify this requirement, however, saying he attempted to volunteer at animal rescue facilities in Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade counties, but all of them turned him away.
Before I get up out of here, man, practice responsibility. That's all we all got to do, man. Practice responsibility. That's the key word for the day. Responsibility when it comes to this breed. You know, that's going to take you a long way when it comes to this breed, man. So y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay legal out there. Try to stay warm. If you're in somewhere that's cold, try to stay dry. If you're somewhere where it's wet. PB K9s, and I'm out.